Don't ask anybody else. You have to ask yourself, what is it I really enjoy doing and that I do pretty well? That empowers other people. That makes a difference in other people's lives. You have to ask yourself. I've even come to the point you have to make it up. In other words, you ask the question, what is my purpose in life? And you write, my purpose is. And as you start writing it out, you'll start making it up. Then you try it. And somebody says, wow, you do a good job doing it. Oh, that's my purpose. I made it up. Only you can do that. Only you can do that. Well, just think, I just ruined most books that are written. They're whole volumes on purpose, and I just told you to make one up. You know what I'm saying? There's a fourth power stick. Power stick of incarnation, you becoming who you are. Interdependence, that's living in a support system, a team. Impact, that's making a difference. Fourth is the power of improvement. The power of improvement. You have to come to the point where you realize that you're going to make a mistake and not be shocked by it. I find more depression from people who are shocked that their perfection fell apart. I find people saying, I can't believe what I just did. What part of you does not understand what you just did? You are capable of doing what you just did. That's why you did it. But isn't that where we learn the most? It's after I make a mistake, I learn. That's what brings about wisdom. Isn't it in the midst of trials and troubles that we learn what life is all about? Isn't that where it is? Isn't that term fail forward? Doesn't that really relate here? I need to have the power of improvement. And in that sense, I've got to understand how to make it work. I have to learn to fail forward. Hey, let me give you a principle. It's not what happens to you that matters anyway. It's how you handle what happens to you. You have to pick up all the riches yourself. Let me give you 3 depressing principles, and then I'll close this out. I should have used them earlier, but I think I can pull you back up after I depress you. 3 depressing principles. Number 1. No one is as excited about what you're doing as you are. Does that just get to you? You ever called anybody and said, let me tell you what we're doing over here? And you hear them yawning on the other. You can just sense it. They're shaking their watch, look at their calendar. I mean, it's just not a good thing. No one is as excited about what you're doing as you are. How many know this for sure? Huh? Yeah, I mean, this is true. You could call somebody after we get through with this session and say, well, you should have been there. I say, where? They don't care. Let me give a sub point to that. They don't care. Nobody cares. Just start with that. Nobody cares. Say it with me, please. Nobody cares. You've been freed up right now. You're totally become free. Nobody cares. Nobody cares as much about what you're doing as you do. There's a second principle. If you thought that was depressing, let's go down one more step. If you're close to going over the edge, just kind of close your ears. There is no meeting going on right now where they are discussing how to make you rich and successful. Now let me be quick to point something out. There may be a meeting going on right now where they're talking about you, but that's not the topic. And there may be a worse problem. If when you go to football games, you see them huddling up and you think they're talking about you, you've got another problem, all right? That's a paranoia skits kind of thing that we'll have to deal with at the break. Nobody's out there to bail you out. Why do we wait for something to happen? I'm going to sit here and wait for something good to happen. You can be on the right road and still get run over if you don't move. There's a third depressing thought. This is the one that usually puts people right across the line. We take them straight to the treatment center from here. If anything good is going to happen in your life, you've got to make it happen. If you're going to pick up any of these riches, you have to pick them up. You got to pick them up. They're not sent in. You're notified that they're there, but you must go pick them up. You have to get them. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're saying, wait a minute, what's this do to the blessings of God? What's this do to the higher power in my life? What's this do to the supernatural side of this thing? I mean, don't we get things we don't deserve? Of course. But let me give you an illustration. There's a man, a farmer, who had a piece of property behind his house, and it was a desolate piece of property, and he turned it into a garden. I mean to tell you, this garden began to grow the most lush vegetables. Unbelievable. He called his priest and he said, you got to come out here and see this garden. You got to see it. So the priest went out on a Sunday afternoon, and as they walked around and looking through this, he said, look at this cabbage. God grows good cabbage. Is this great or what? Look at the corn. Isn't God amazing what He grows? God grows such good corn. Look at this, my gosh, those beans and the tomatoes. God does such great work. What a luscious illustration of what God can do with a piece of property. And the farmer just had it up to here. He's thinking, I did this work. Finally, he couldn't take it any longer, and he said, you know, Father, I wish you could have seen this garden when God was doing it by Himself. You get the drift. He does His part. You do your part. He always does His part. On your way to financial riches, pick up all of the rest, or you won't be happy when you get there. Let me put this in perspective with this story. There was a man out playing golf. Not a good golfer. Dug up a lot of dirt when he swung the clubs. Had some sharp golf clubs because he hit a lot of rock. He maneuvered a ball up to the fourth hole, and heading that direction, it landed on a giant anthill. But that didn't bother him. That's just softer dirt. He squared off and swung through and missed the ball and killed a few thousand ants. He swung through again and missed the ball completely and killed a few thousand more ants. He swung 6 times on this one anthill. 6 times. Never got near the ball. Killed massive amount of ants. One of the greatest ant slaughters ever in all of antdom. 2 ants walked out of a hole near the ball. One said to the other, you know, if we don't get on the ball, we're going to die. I think that's the point.